I'm Moira, and in this video, I'm going to be going over everything about hockey goalie sticks, just from the basics about how the stick works compared to player sticks, how to size a stick, and the curves and everything like that. And then also, I'm going to be showing you how I tape my stick and talking about how goalie sticks are taped differently than player sticks. So this is one of my sticks. This one's pretty beat up, uh, but this is one of my sticks. Just going to show you the different parts of a goalie stick. So starting down here is obviously the blade. Goalie blades are a lot larger and a lot wider than player blades. Just like taping them can be more difficult. So I'll go over that when we talk about taping the sticks. This is the paddle. There's a lot of different paddle lengths. And so these different lengths. And then this is just the shaft of the stick. Basically the same thing as player stick up here. And then this is kind of the knob all the way at the top. So anything from here on up is basically same as a player stick. The really difference is down here with the paddle. So goalie sticks are sized based on the length of the paddle. So this is the stick I'm currently using. It's a 24-inch paddle. Usually the most common ones you'll find will be like 23-inch, 24, and 25-inch paddles. And then this other one, this pretty old stick of mine. This is a 25-inch paddle. As you can see, side by side here, it's definitely bigger with the paddle, but it's also going to be bigger with the actual shaft of the stick. So basically, the shaft of the stick is not going to be written anywhere for the length of it. Everything's going to be based on your paddle length. If you really hate how tall this is, you can cut it down. Yeah, and then goalie sticks compared to player sticks, the curves, most of the time they're pretty uniform. Those common ones, they only kind of like 231, but most goalie sticks don't differ in their curve. So I wouldn't really worry about that. So when you're fitting the goalie stick, when you're trying to size it out, it's going to be mostly based on how it works in your butterfly. So when you're in an up stance, when you're on your feet, you're going to have free motion of your arms pretty much no matter what. When you go into your butterfly, a stick that's too big, it's almost going to imagine your arm kind of gets locked in this position, and it gets really hard for you to move your blocker as well as your stick. So what you're going to want is a stick that when you have it a comfortable angle like this, you list your pucks, it's about your hip level, it can be a little bit higher, mine's a bit big. That's based on preference. You're gonna lie in that ballpark range at your hip level, and you're really move your arms anyway. So goalie sticks, you do tape them a bit differently than player sticks. Like I said, the blade is going to be longer and it's going to be wider. So generally, you're going to want to use thicker tape just to make that easier. You don't have to, but it definitely makes the process easier. Most goalies, not all, also have some tape where they hold their hand right here above your paddle. I do that, and it just helps with grip. This is obviously where your hand's going to be most of the time, so personally, I'd recommend it. And then your knob up here. Goalie knobs and player knobs can be similar, but I think the main difference is going to be that a goalie knob up here is going to be a bit thicker, so that with your blocker, it's easier to pick up. A lot of player knobs are really hard to pick up; they're just too skinny. So a lot of goalies like to buff up their knobs so that's easier to pick up when they drop it. So I got a new stick right here, and I'm basically going to be taping this from scratch. I'm going to kind of show you guys how I do it. Again, this is just my personal preference. Everyone's tape job is going to be different. This is just how I do it. Okay, so I'm going to go over everything I'm going to be using. Again, if you just want to use basic white tape, I have some of that. Should be plenty if you're not too super precise on how you tape your stick. But what I use thin white, or like the standard tape you find, basic white tape. And then I do use some grip tape for my knob. And then I also will use some clear tape. This is just everything I use. And then you will need scissors. You don't need like fancy Bauer scissors like this. I think cloth scissors like these make it a lot easier. You can definitely just use kitchen scissors or craft scissors, whatever you have. The first thing that I like to do for my sticks is I like to put a layer of tape on the very bottom of my blade. And then I also put another layer on that as well. So 2 layers on the bottom of my blade basically. And that's just to kind of protect the bottom of my sticks so my stick job will last longer. That's pretty much my reason for it. Now I'm gonna finish off taping the blade. I like to start on the back, just so that when I go to the front, the stripes or whatever you like to call them are uniform. Again, it doesn't really matter. But yours could basically going to wrap the tape around the stick. That's pretty much it. When I finish off on the toe down here, I like to tape my toe. Some people don't like to. But if you do tape your toe, you're gonna have to cut that tape out of the end. Keep that in mind. Okay, now that all the tape is on the stick, I'm gonna cut out the toe. Um, One thing I do recommend if you do tape your toe and you're cutting it out is to press down on both sides of the tape like this, so it seals and you get a cleaner cut. And there's nothing left. Now some people do like to wax their blades. Most players do. Me personally, I don't like it. Um, but waxing is another thing people do to protect the tape, make it last longer, and I get a little bit better grip of the knob. What a lot of people like to do, and what I do, is they seal off this little cap right here so that it can't come out. That's what I'm gonna do before I start, and then I'm just gonna do the rest of it the length I like. Alright, so now that first layer is done to the knob, mine's pretty messy, so I'm gonna cover it up with grip tape. If you don't put grip tape, I'd recommend making it a bit cleaner than this. I'm just gonna work on the thickness of the knob up here. I like to go about 8 to 10 times around. And again, my knob, like this one, is not the biggest goalie knob you're gonna see. So if you do that and you still have a hard time picking your stick up off the ice if you drop it, I'll definitely recommend going around more times. Maybe 15, something like that. And now I'm just gonna put the grip tape on here. Um, Pretty straightforward. I like to start from the top, and then I don't go all the way up to the top. I'll put it about up here. You can see that I know it's white, but it goes up to about right here. So that's my knob all done. Um, Relatively complex, honestly, for a knob, but that's what I like to use. If you just leave like the very base layer of tape on there, then like you build up the knobs you can make sure you can grab it up off the ice. That should be plenty. And then you kind of work your way into your own tape job as you play progress. So this is what I've found to like. Similar thing is with your grip down here. A lot of people actually don't even use any tape. Um, I like to build it up with some grip tape because it just feels more comfortable in my hand. Again, if you just put some regular white tape there, it'll be fine. All right, next stick completely taped. I do know some people like to sometimes add stuff on their paddle right here so that pucks cannot come up and jab them in the fingers. I used to have something like that on my stick. I don't do that anymore. That is an option if you have problems with that. But yeah, completely taped. Good to go.